Veličina dela i naučni značaj jednog od najuticajnijih arheologa današnjice, doktora Zahija Hawassa, će se prepričavati, učiti i proučavati u budućnosti na svim univerzitetima sveta. On je danas svima prepoznatljivo lice i jedan od sigurno najpoznatijih arheologa i najcenjenijih egiptologa na planeti. Decenijama kroz istraživačku posvećenost i izuzetno predan rad donosi svetu nova saznanja i nova otkrića skrivenih blaga Egipta. Zahvaljujući njegovoj harizmatičnoj ličnosti, kao i novom zanimljivom pristupu i velikom znanju, uspeo je da izazove globalno interesovanje o drevnom Egiptu. I ne samo to, on je podigao svest o arheologiji i očuvanju dragocene baštine starog Egipta. Dr. Hawass je doveo svet faraona u domove i srca ljudi po celom svetu, kroz brojne televizijske emisije, nastupe i mnogobrojne knjige koje je napisao za široku čitalačku publiku. Danas je dr. Zahi Hawass prepoznatljivo lice vodećih svetskih naučnih programa, History Channela, Discovery Channela, BBC-a. On i danas radi i predaje sa istim žarom, entuzijazmom i nadasve prepoznatljivom harizmom. Naučnik je koji bez sumnje ostavlja trag u vremenu i ispisuje istoriju za generacije koje dolaze. Dobitnik je mnogobrojnih najznačajnijih priznanja ne samo u Egiptu, nego i u Americi, Francuskoj, Rusiji, Italiji, Japanu, Kanadi, Nemačkoj, Švajcarskoj, Slovačkoj, Poljskoj, Turskoj, Britaniji. Danica Karic i Beka televizija imali su tu čast da sa doktorom Zahijem, prilikom njegove poslednje posete u Beogradu u decembru mesecu ove godine, urade ne samo intervju, to je više od pukog postavljanja pitanja i odgovora. Pred vama je jedan izuzetno inspirativan i nadahnjujući razgovor sa čuvarom starih tajni i retko nadarenim arheologom, koji ne prestaje da ispisuje stranice istorije umetnosti starog Egipta.
Dr. Hawass, thank you so much for being with us.
You are welcome.
It is such an honor to have you here.
Thank you.
In Serbia, in Belgrade, where I hope we will see you many times over. Tell me, for the beginning, I would like to begin with a light question. When people think of Egypt, they cannot but not think of you. The first thing they think of, I'm sure, is your name, and then they think of your hat, your shirt, but then, I think for maybe a different kind of audience, they think of the movie The Mummy. You know this movie. And why am I beginning with this? Because I want to, I think, show how diverse ancient Egypt is and how from all over the world, everybody is fascinated by this culture. And tell me, do you think that this movie, did it do good?
You mean the movie by Tom Cruise?
Yeah, no, not Tom Cruise.
The old one?
The old one.
Do you know?
Was it
I have to tell you.
Popularizing the culture?
The old one that made by an Egyptian, Shah Abdul Salam.
Yes.
This is the one.
No, the new one, but it's a different act. Brendan Fraser.
No. We are because there is a movie called The Mummy, and this movie was made by an Egyptian. His name is Shah Abdul Salam. And it talks about the discovery of the cachette of the mummies that happened in 1881. And there is Hollywood movies called The Mummy, The Return of the Mummy.
Yeah.
And the last one that made by Tom Cruise, in the same day that they showed this movie last year, they came to do a program with me for today's show. And we examined the mummy of Ramses III and the screaming mummy that I discovered, and it really was fantastic to show the world the interest of mummies, because mummies has magic.
Yeah.
And this is why the magic of the mummy made Hollywood to make lots of movies. It's good.
Hollywood was bringing this there?
It's good.
So they didn't do any harm?
No, listen.
They changed
I believe in drama. With drama, you can make any story that you want. Drama is drama. You know, like I'm doing now, I wrote the script for the opera of Tutankhamun. I had to do drama. I had to imagine things. Then history without drama is difficult. With drama, you put action.
Yeah.
And that's why all these movies about mummies capture the hearts of people all over the world.
And fascinate people.
Yes.
It's true. And tell me, you said you were not passionate about archaeology in the beginning, and then you made the discovery of an artifact that began your love affair with ancient Egypt. Can you tell me about this?
You know, because when I was
How it shaped your life? This
when I was young, I went to college in the age of 15 and a half. I was very young, and I really wanted to be a lawyer, because in the movies you can see lawyers who were very successful, and I wanted to have a car. And then I went to Faculty of Law, and I bought the books. I did not like it. Then I switched from Faculty of Law to Faculty of Arts. In the Faculty of Arts, there is 20 departments. Then I asked people, what's good department here? Then, actually, I met this lady in the cafeteria, and I liked her. And she told, this is the first time I revealed this secret. And she told me, I'm going to this archaeology department. I said, what do you do when you graduate? She said, to be a translator. Then I went to this college because of her. And I stayed 4 years. I was a very bad student. I was not good student at all. I passed. Then when I finished, I was 19 and a half. In that time, you have a government job. If you are smart, you take it. If you are stupid, you take it. Then I went to the antiquities department, and I did not like the people. I said, no way, I can't be like these people. Then I decided to be a diplomat. I failed to be a diplomat. I had to go back, and the head of antiquities said, you have to go to this excavation. I said, no. How can I leave my girlfriend in Cairo and go to the desert? He said, if you don't go, we'll take 15 days off of your salary. I had to go, crying. I was crying. And I went to the desert, sitting in the tent. The excavation is running, and I was young, and I was very upset. And one day, the workman found a tomb. And the head of the workmen came to me to say, come. And I went with him. He said, we need to clean this tomb. Then he gave me the brush. And I sat down, I began to clean. In the middle of the tomb, I found this statue. It was a statue of Aphrodite, the goddess of beauty and love for the Greek. And when I was cleaning the statue, inside me, I said, I found my love, archaeology. And this when I fell in love with archaeology, and I had passion. That passion, when I talk about archaeology, my words enter the hearts of people because of the passion.
Definitely. And I think your passion is what keeps you at your age feeling and...
I feel I'm 20 years old now.
And also, you have such energy.
I do.
Yeah, your youth. Maybe the secret to your youth is this passion in you. What do you think?
I go to the gym every day.
Of course you do, there. Tell me, do you think that there will be something of importance under the Sphinx, or is the structure itself just simply enough?
This is what...
We don't need anymore.
This is, Dana, what people believe. Something is hidden under the Sphinx. Zahi Hawass is hiding things. All these rumors. You know, anyone can send me an email through my website. You can go to my website and send me an email. Many people insult me. You are hiding things under the Sphinx. Okay, I'm not hiding anything. I never hide anything. Then when I found out that the water table began to rise in front of the Sphinx, I had to drill to find the level of the water. I did make 32 drilling under the Sphinx, 20 meters down. Solid rock, living rock, nothing is hidden under the Sphinx. But people like to dream. Let them to dream, fine.
Can you tell me a little bit about the fact that I heard there's no records of that time describing the Sphinx or its purpose or what it was built for? What do you speculate it was? I was reading it was for the pharaoh Khafra, maybe built.
All the
evidence. Sort of shrine in his honor, or how do you?
All the evidence showed through the causeway of Khafra, there was running water, but when they began to build that causeway, they stopped it for the water. And the construction of his temple is similar to the Sphinx temple. Then the Sphinx was made actually in the time of the Old Kingdom to represent Khafra as Horus giving offering to the sun god who rises and sits in the temple in front of the Sphinx. But in the New Kingdom, the Sphinx had a name called Horem Akhet, means Horus of the horizon. And they called it also Buhol, means the place of Horus. Then we recorded all the history of the Sphinx.
Tell me, as an explorer, do you feel that there is a danger of becoming somehow stuck in one idea before discovering it? Do you feel that you find yourself sometimes perhaps looking for something that doesn't exist? Or is that the very thing that's driving archaeology?
You know, you have to always, before you do anything, you have to dream of what you're going to discover. Like when I began my excavation in the Valley of the Kings, I know that I'm looking for the tomb of Ankh-Issin-Amun. She's the widow of
you feel her calling to you.
Or the tomb of Nefertiti. Then there is always a dream. For you to be a good archaeologist, you can't be dry. You have to dream. And I always make all my dreams true. All my dreams, I made it true. But it's very important to dream.
It's wonderful listening to you speaking like this, because unfortunately many archaeologists are dry and they don't have your passion, and this is, I think, what's missing very much in your field. But tell me, when you're near a discovery, this is what I would like to know. Can you describe for us your feelings, your methods? Is there something inside you, like you're saying, that just this intuition, something that's calling you, that you know, just behind this rock there's something? Is there something like this that you can just describe? Like when you came face to face with King Tut, what was that?
When I was young, I used to fear of dark. When my father asked me, I'm from a village, to go to buy something from the shop, I said, no, I can't walk in at night alone. And this is why when I began to discover archaeology and I go in a dark area, I imagine my fear of dark. But when I know there is something I'm going to discover, I go. Because
there's light behind
to reveal the secret of the past is a beautiful moment. Like when I found the mummy of Queen Hatshepsut, that was incredible moment to find this tooth inside the box and look at the teeth of all the mummies that I scanned. It's incredible moment. To meet Tutankhamun face to face for the first time, it's amazing. And this is why when I discover something, I feel that my heart is trembling because of the thrill of the discovery.
This is why you're still, even today, eager to discover more. And tell me, have the tombs of Cleopatra and Mark Antony been found?
We were hoping.
Do you believe you will uncover that in your lifetime?
We were hoping. This is not my theory. I am not interested in Cleopatra, but I met Kathleen Martinez from the Dominican Republic, and she believed that Cleopatra and Mark Antony were buried inside this temple. And actually, I thought this will bring publicity to Egypt. In that time, tourism were really suffering like what we do now. But actually, I thought to start for the first time, because everyone is looking for the tomb of Alexander the Great, but never anyone looked for the tomb of Cleopatra. And that was the beginning of the thrill. 8 years of work, we discovered many statues and coins of Cleopatra. I think maybe one day the tomb will be discovered.
Tell me, do you believe in the curses surrounding the tombs? And are there any interesting anecdotes or experiences that you would like to share with our viewers?
When I began to scan the mummy of Tutankhamun, and I went to Luxor, I stayed in my hotel until the tourists will leave, then I go. Then my assistant came to pick me up. When we drove the car, my driver almost was going to hit a boy and used the brake. Then my assistant laughed. He said, this is the beginning of the curse. We were going to scan the mummy of Tutankhamun. While we were driving to the Valley of the Kings, my sister called me to say her husband died.
Oh, wow.
I arrived at the Valley of the Kings. The secretary of the Ministry of Culture said that the minister had a heart attack. I gave an interview to the Japanese TV. A big storm happened, and it was raining. And also, when I took the mummy, I put it under the CT scan. The CT scan stopped. And the curse always happened to the beautiful lady that she interviews me. And when she asks the question, always there is a curse will happen to her. Then Dana, watch out of the curse.
Let's hope not. Tell me, I was fascinated to hear that the ancient Egyptians used the floods to more easily maneuver the big rocks to the building sites, which I think is genius if that's true. And what fascinates you most about the construction practices back
You know,
then?
there is an important papyri. Were discovered recently. It is the oldest papyri ever found. It's called the papyri of Wadi al-Jarf. In this papyri, the overseer of the workmen is telling us, we are cutting stones with 40 workmen and move the stones on sledges to a big cargo, to the Nile, to the building the pyramid. Then this papyri is telling us for the first time about the construction of the pyramid. And in my career, I did reveal all the evidence of how the pyramid was built. They made the base accurate, square, cut in the solid rock, 8 meters from stones. All the stones for building the pyramid came from Giza Plateau, 100 meters away from the base. They made a ramp to be located in the southwest corner, and they made external ramps. And when they finished building the pyramid, they put the capstone cased with gold, and that meant the pyramid is finished. Then we know all the, and I just published a book last year, and this book was called Giza and the Pyramids. In this book, we have all the evidence that I presented of building the pyramid.
It's quite fascinating, the construction. Tell me, like in our country, many artifacts were looted over the years. Were many important artifacts looted from Egypt, and are there still artifacts of great importance that Egypt is trying to return?
You know, I returned 6,000 artifacts. And I began to look for unique artifacts like Rosetta Stone in the British Museum, and the bust of Nefertiti in Berlin, the statue of the architect of the Great Pyramid in Hildesheim Museum in Germany, the statue of the architect of the Second Pyramid in Museum of Fine Arts in Boston, and the Zodiac at the Louvre. I thought these are unique. From the beginning, I wrote to this museum to ask them to have this as a loan when I was going to open the Grande Museum in 2015. They said no. Then I decided to make their life miserable. And I did. I collected all the evidence of how these artifacts were stolen from Egypt. And I wrote the first letter to bring Nefertiti back. And actually, the revolution started, and we could not continue that. But I'm a member now of the committee to return stolen artifacts at the Ministry of Antiquities. And actually, we returned about 1,000 artifacts now. Then it's very important, if you look at any auction, not every piece in the auction is stolen, but you have to look about the stolen artifacts. And this is what I'm after. When I did the debate with Oxford Student University, and there was against me people say, no, we cannot return stolen artifacts. I said, I'm not after any artifact. You have the mummy here in the museum. I'm not after this mummy. I'm after anything stolen from Egypt.
It's fascinating. Tell me, have you heard about the Neolithic Vincha people by any chance? It is believed that here, that's where the European culture began in these parts, Serbia, some 5,000 BC. And the language also symbolic, much like hieroglyphs. Would you care to say a few words about how we as a nation can benefit from government support for these discoveries?
You know, it's very important because in Serbia, your history is fascinating. You have 17 Roman emperors are from here. And you have a famous prehistoric sites. And therefore, I really think that you need someone, you need a Zahi Hawass in Serbia. If you have a Zahi Hawass in Serbia, your Serbian monuments will be great because you do have a great history.
And do you feel that for our young archaeologists, how can they ensure the safety and promotion of such a valuable find without government support if they don't have it? Or did you find that it's imperative for you to have that support of your country to really make an impact?
But if even also you can have support not only from the government. You know, Discovery Channel, History Channel, they're running after a discovery. If you can make a discovery here, all the TV channel will run after you and they support that.
Yeah.
My excavation in the Valley of the Kings is not supported by the government. It is supported by Discovery Channel.
Yeah.
Then it's very important
There is hope.
to make the thrill for archaeology. That will bring things to you.
And that's, again, somebody has to be born with a gift like
Exactly.
you are. Tell me, I really am interested about the gods at that time. There seems to be, in my eyes, an equality between the kind of feminine gods and the masculine gods. Would you say that in that time there was a patriarchy there, or a matriarchy, or was it equal?
You know,
How
there was a universal God, the God of all the gods. And after that, the Egyptian will worship anything that they benefit to them or anything that they scare of them. Then they worshipped cats, but not to worship all the cats. They worshipped the skill on the cats. They can kill cats. They worshipped Hathor as a cow, but they can eat cow, but one specific cow to be the goddess. And this is why for everything, beauty and wisdom and justice, and they have a god or a goddesses for everything. And this way their life became idealistic because there was a god or a goddesses control everything in the country.
And tell me, has there ever been a moment in your career where you kind of stopped in awe and you really thought that perhaps all these mystical, magical stories that exist around ancient Egypt perhaps could be true? People have speculated for years. I'm sure you know there are many people who even believe that aliens came and they're the gods and then they created children and those are the kings, and you know this story very well. That's quite a story. What can you tell us about that?
You know, I think if anyone who doesn't know the history of Egypt and is stand in front of the Great Pyramid, he will never believe how it was built. And this is why I like people to dream. It's good. If they talk about lost civilization, fine. But all of this are dreaming. It's not true. And I tell them the truth. Maybe it's a shock to them, but I need to wake them up. And I do wake the people up all over the world to tell them what you believe about aliens, it is not true.
And tell me, with the fall of this great ancient Egyptian way of life and beliefs, the religion at that time, the hieroglyphs, the language, and it's happening, of course, to many other civilizations, but does something of the old tradition remain? The pagan, religions? Do people in any way pay homage to the gods or the pharaohs, or have they just become relics to be admired? Has time completely erased this old kind of beliefs in religions?
In ancient Egypt, before the TV entered, every village have the same habits like the ancient Egyptian. But we, in Egypt today, the legend among the people is to dig for a tomb for gold or something called the red mercury. There is nothing called the red mercury, but they believe in the throat of the mummy there is a liquid, and this liquid, if you have it, then there is a dream among the people about ancient. And this really makes me happy, because when they talk about this, I never take a taxi without the taxi driver will ask me questions like this. And I'm happy, because this can show that the Egyptian began to be interested on their heritage. And this really makes me happy.
This is wonderful and fascinating to me. And tell me, how do you feel the Egyptians today are celebrating this, their predecessors?
They do. I will tell you. When I sent the robot inside the Great Pyramid for the first time, and it was shown live, people stay up in Egypt from 3 to 5. About a month ago, I was walking in one of the squares in Cairo, and a poor man who doesn't know even how to talk, he said, "Zahi, when are you seeing the robot in the pyramid again?" That was another beautiful moment in my life, to see this poor man who doesn't know how to read and write, to ask me this question. And that's to show how we today love to know about the magic and the mystery of the pharaohs.
And tell me, this kind of after your over 50 years of your discoveries, is there something that still surprises you today?
Of course, every day there is a surprise. When I write an article, I was in my hotel today in the morning writing an article about Serbia, and I still think about ancient Egypt. Everything in ancient Egypt, when I'm writing a book, that I finished this month. A book will be published next month called Zahi Hawass' Secret Egypt. All the secret in every site, I'm revealing it for the first time. I'm starting next month to write my story life. I wrote the first part called Secrets from the Sand. I'm writing the second part. Then every minute in my life, when I close my eyes, I think of a mystery or something magical about the pharaohs.
And tell me, as a child, I was always fascinated by ancient Egypt, and one of my biggest dreams still has not come true. I'm hoping to, it will, and that is to see these wonders up close. And as I told you, I've been following a few years now your collaboration with Archaeological Paths Tours, and I know when I saw this, I said to myself, there is no other way I can see Egypt other than with you. This is it. The only way is with Dr. Hawass. And can you tell our viewers, please, who maybe are debating whether to go?
I have to tell you.
Is it safe? What can they expect when they go to Egypt?
I agreed to give lectures for this company because I want to tell the people the truth, that Egypt is safe. If Egypt is not safe, I will never say this. It's incredible that every site is beautifully protected. There is no way that any terrorist can enter to the sites. And that's why I'm inviting the people, telling them, Egypt has magic. You are missing this magic. I'm telling all of you, Egypt is safe. We need you to come back because the money that you spend on the ticket is for the preservation of the Egyptian monuments. And these monuments do not belong to us as Egyptians. It belongs to the people all over the world, to you as Serbian.
Wonderful. And tell me, please, will you leave something? Do you think that we will leave something to be revered by our future generations? Like, will we leave that mark on the world like the ancient Egyptians have left for us?
Yes. You know, I always think that we found 30% only of our monuments. There is many things to reveal. There is many magic to know. There is many mystery to understand.
And tell me, I have to ask you, if you believe in past lives, do you believe that you were living there, and who were you?
I was always thinking, you know, that was a big story between me. When I did with Omar Sharif, our first documentary live to the world. At the end, he had a statue of Khufu. And he wanted to ask me, if you believe in the incarnation, whom do you want to be? I said, Omar, I can't say Khufu. If I say this, the whole world and the psychic will run after me. They will make my life miserable. Then I said at the end, I will say, if I believe in incarnation, I would love to be Khufu. And the psychic ran after me, especially the Americans. But Khufu for me is a wonderful king, built the biggest monument in the world. And the Great Pyramid is a mark of the genius of the ancient Egyptian. I'm always saying, building pyramids built Egypt.
Yes, that's wonderful. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
I am just fascinated by you. And tell me, what's next? For a man like you, what's next?
What's next? Two things. Number one, my excavation in the Valley of the Kings. We hope to discover the tomb soon. Number two, I'm starting the Egyptian mummy project, revealing the secrets of the royal mummies.
We look forward to all of that. Thank you for your time and for all your wonderful answers and for enlivening, I'm sure, in every single viewer, that passion and that desire to really discover something new.
Thank you.
Thank you.